Greetings viewers, and welcome to another episode of ETCG1. How are you? Here on ETCG1 we talk about stuff. We don't do automotive repairs, but if you want automotive repairs, check out the Eric the Car Guy channel. I'll make it easier for you and post a link in the description so you can go right there right now. If you want to stick around and join in the discussion, welcome. Today's topic, brand loyalty. I've seen it get to a physical point. I've seen people get physical over their brand loyalty to one brand or another, or their hatred of a certain brand. It is probably one of the most sensitive topics, I think, in the automotive community. You have a certain brand that you're into and that you're loyal to, and you buy their products and their products alone, and that's just about it. Me, I'm kind of an omnivore. I don't have any particular brand that I'm completely in love with. A lot of you would say, Eric, that's not true. You're in love with Hondas. No, the fact of the matter is, I'm a Honda expert, as you would say. Self-proclaimed Honda expert. I worked on them for a long period of time. I've been working on them for a long period of time. I've made a pretty good living working on them. But I have owned a lot of different brands of vehicles over time, and Hondas are not the only ones. One of the biggest reasons I still own Hondas is because I've got a whole building full of Honda parts to where if something breaks, I can just go and see if I've got it in that back room and bring it back out. And actually, I've done it. In fact, the Acura distributor video that I did some time ago, that's exactly what I did. I went into my pile of parts, pulled something out, and fixed my car. That's one of the main reasons. I'm not saying Hondas are bad cars. I'm not saying Hondas are the best cars. I think Hondas are pretty good cars, and they've been pretty good by me. They've never left me along the side of the road, and for the most part, they start up in the morning. That's a pretty good track record as far as I'm concerned. As far as where my loyalties lie, they lie with whatever I'm interested in, whatever I can afford at the time. Subaru is an example of that. That was the first Subaru I've owned, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I would buy another Subaru easily. And I've owned several Fords, a few Chevys, a Cadillac, Dodge, and I've worked on lots and lots of different things, so I've had some experiences with that. So I guess that's what puts me in a place to where I don't have any particular brand loyalty. However, as I stated earlier, I have known people that are very brand loyal, and they stick to their guns, and they feel very strongly about the brand that they're attached to. Briefly in the domestics versus imports video, I touched on where I think this gets started. I think a lot of it has to do with your first vehicle experience, or early on in your vehicle experiences. You pick up that first car, and it's either absolutely wonderful and becomes your best friend, or it's a total piece of crap and you want to take it out back and put it out of its misery. I've heard and seen of both experiences. And that may have nothing to do with the brand. You know, often when you're getting your first car, it's going to be a used car, and depending upon how it was used and maintained, well, I mean, any brand won't hold up under bad maintenance or poor maintenance or neglect. So you may have just ended up with a good brand that was neglected. So that may have colored your experience, and then from then forward, you're never going to buy that brand again. And I think that's where a lot of it gets started. I think it's your initial experiences in driving that bring you to a certain brand, or drive you away from a certain brand. My dad, for example, he used to own a lot of Chevys. He was a Chevy guy for many, many, many years. In fact, he took his Chevys for many, many, many miles, and they worked for him very well. When I was a teenager, he went out and bought his first Ford, which was a Thunderbird. And that was kind of a surprise, but he broke out of that mold. He broke it again and moved from American into Japanese mix when he bought a Subaru Forester. But a 2012 Subaru Forester that he absolutely loves. Actually, before that, he had I don't remember what year it was like a 2000 or 2001 Outback, similar to what my Legacy is, just maybe up a little higher. He absolutely loved that car, which prompted him to go out and get another new one. And I think the brands sort of build this into their business model, in that they try to structure it so that the entry-level vehicles are some of their best vehicles. So that when you buy a brand new whatever, but you can only afford their base model, that you're walking away with something that is of a certain quality or a certain representation of that brand, to where, say, you move up into a different socioeconomic class, hey, good for you, and you decide to buy the higher up model or the luxury model from that brand. That's where I think that the automakers, I think that's what they want. They want a progression. They want to get you in from college into their base model, get you out of college, hopefully you get out and get a better paying job, and then you come back into the showroom and you say, you know what, I'm going to buy the good one this time. Not that the one you had was bad, it's just not of the same trim level of the higher up models. There's a reason they cost more, because there's more luxury out of it. Maybe leather seats, maybe heated seats, maybe a better stereo, maybe a sunroof where yours didn't have a sunroof. Maybe different gadgets, backup cameras, whatever. Things that make that car of a greater value than that base model or that entry-level model that you've got. I think manufacturers pay a lot of attention to this because they have a vested interest in it. They want to get lifelong customers. They want you to be brand loyal, so they do things like make t-shirts and coffee mugs and other things that you can buy from the parts department that can satisfy your brand loyalty, can send you out to represent that brand. I'm not sure how I feel about that sometimes because, well, let's face it, they are working to manipulate you, and I personally don't like feeling manipulated, but if they're really good at it, you don't feel manipulated. You just look at that coffee mug and go, wow, that's a really cool Dodge coffee cup. It's just my perception of what they do, because there's a whole marketing machine behind that automaker, and they spend an awful lot of money trying to research you, trying to research what it is about you that attracts you to their vehicles. And then they try to incorporate those wants and needs into their designs so that they can get you coming back to buy more and more, to keep you brand loyal. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot invested into it. Personally, like I said, I'm gonna go with what's available. I also like easy to work on. I also like the fact that I have a stock of spare parts. So that's where my loyalties lie. I guess I'm cheap that way. And I'm not really the person to ask, because I don't go out looking for cars in the same way, or vehicles in the same way that the quote-unquote normal person would. I think any technician would say that because of their experiences in repair. When you come really experienced in repair, you look at vehicles in a very different way than you would if you just drove them and maybe did a few things on the weekend. You have a very different perspective, and I think that carries over into your purchasing, what vehicles you go out and buy. Just my take on it, but that's just me. This is a conversation. How about you? What do you think of brand loyalty? Is there an experience that you had that was a really bad brand experience? I asked this question on my social networks not long ago. Is there an experience that you had that was a really good brand experience? I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear what your take is on this whole topic, as far as where you feel this comes from, how useful it is, and what it actually says about the person driving that vehicle. What are the things that you see as far as people driving different brands, or experiences that you've had with people who are very brand loyal, perhaps of the brand that you didn't necessarily like that much? What was their reaction to your comments? All this and more down in the comments. But in addition to the comments, I'm also going to put a link in the description to a discussion about this video over at my forum at ericthecarguy.com. Speaking of ericthecarguy.com, if you have automotive questions, I think the best thing for you to do is head over to ericthecarguy.com, and once you get there, you will see a list of the most commonly asked questions that I've gotten over the years, and there just might be answers to your questions right within there, and all you have to do is click, and away you go. Now, if that doesn't necessarily work for you, there's still the big green search box. You can type in a couple of keywords about your problem into that, and it will come through our database, and you just might find an answer in that way. By the way, you can also type in your check engine light codes in there, and you will get an explanation of that code along with any solutions that we've come up with in our database. So that's a pretty powerful tool as well. You know what? If that's still not working for you, you can sign up for our forum. It's absolutely free. All you need is a valid email address and to respond to the confirmation email that should end up in your inbox. If not, check your spam folder, bulk folder, that kind of thing. If you do not click that activation link, you will not be able to complete your registration. Therefore, you will not be able to get onto the site. That'll be a sad thing. We want to see you there. So please look for that confirmation email, click that activation link, and all will be well with the world. If you want to connect with me socially, hey, I've got that for you too. You can find me on Google+, Facebook, and Twitter, and I close each of my videos, both Eric the Car Guy and ETCG1, with be safe, have fun, and stay dirty. I look forward to your comments on this one.